to my mind, why are we conjecturing, oh, if he goes, he won't get a fair trial? As I said, we're not talking about a kangaroo court or a kangaroo judiciary in Sweden. Now, if there are reprisals and if there is retribution, it'll be for the world to see. And no country in today's times wants to be seen as dictatorial as you make them out to be. Finally, about him going to Guantanamo Bay, the issue is first, let him be convicted in Sweden. But as Madhu said, people in high places with such credible track records, if mud is flung at them, it is their duty to get rid of that mud. And the only recourse he has is to a judicial cleansing. He doesn't have recourse to anything else.
No, but there
now
is...
that his extradition is being denied.
Well, now you're getting this rebut coming to you from Farooq Dhondy. Go ahead, and then I'll come in. Yeah.
First thing I'd like to say to Madhu, that whatever she says about WikiLeaks is absolutely true about the whole of the wretched web. You know, you don't believe anything you read on the web because they put in a lot of lies. I mean, I can quote all sorts of madmen coming on the web to say anything they want. It doesn't mean that you lose your discretion and take it on.
Or that you arrest people for that.
The only additional thing about WikiLeaks is that it's information that the people who actually constituted that information didn't want it on there. They're not madmen. They're people who picked up the spy network has picked up these conversations and planted them there, and some of them are manifestly useful to reveal what goes on under the skin of government, under the skin of capitalism, and so on. Now to Sohail, right? Mr. Manning has disappeared. Lieutenant or captain or whatever he was, he has disappeared. Bradley Manning is nowhere to be seen. It's like one of those disappearances in a dictatorship in, shall we say, Libya or Saddam Hussein's regime and so forth. We don't know where he is, what he's been charged with, and so on. All right, he was a serving officer, and he betrayed that office as far as the American government is concerned. But don't say that America is a greatly democratic regime. You know what went on in Guantanamo Bay. You know that there was no due process of law. I mean, I'm not saying that poor Julian will be chucked into Guantanamo Bay and made to wear an orange suit.
I mean, he hasn't even left England. You'll want him to go to Guantanamo.
No, but it's a...
we don't want him to go there, but
no, I don't have the
final test will be the deal that Sweden has made with America.
I don't have the same faith that Sohail has in either Swedish or British or American courts. They all work, as we have seen in many different cases. There's strings pulled, there's enough power to make things go the way certain powers want them to go.
That's true.
So to think that he's going to be cleansed by the judicial process, he's already been cleansed by everything that has happened already. I don't think that this kind of, it's not a coincidence that these cases were filed. It's not a coincidence that all the powers that are affected have gone after him, including corporates. It's really naive, sorry Sohail, but it's really naive to believe that he's going to get justice. He's shaken it up and he's going to get it back.
No, but I don't know. 1 second. This is the one point where Madhu Trehan, I'm asking you, anybody who shakes it up is going to get it back. I mean, how right is that?
So we've seen.
So are you justifying it?
So we've seen so far.
It's the way of the world.
You're saying it's the way of the world.
Has anyone gotten away with it?
But I'll tell you one thing.
You shake it up, you get it back. This
Sweden,
logic.
you know, we great believers in democracy and the independence of the courts. The great thing about Sweden is you are, in this case, guilty until you prove your innocence.
Let me welcome at
I
this...
mean, what kind of justice is that?
Well,
in any other court in the world, you're innocent until you're proved guilty.
Okay, now I know he's coming into the debate late, but we've got Enram tonight.
Sir.
And we do know that Enram is a solid defender of Mr. Julian Assange. In 3 days back, he was with him at his county house in Ellingham in the UK. Now, Enram, my question to you, sir, is that I want you to first respond to an earlier comment that has been made by Madhu Trehan, who's on the panel tonight. She says what Julian Assange did was espionage, not journalism. That's the first observation. And the second observation, she said, if you're going to shake it up, you're going to get it back. To which Farooq Dhondy said, that is the way of the world.
Yes.
Mr. Ram, your response, please.
It's the unjust way of the world.
Yes.
Well, I obviously don't agree with Madhu Trehan. It's not the espionage. It's what various people do, including what happened in Watergate. You work with sources. You work as a whistleblower. You do not solicit material, but you enable.
There's a huge difference
Julian
between
calls
Watergate,
principal
the
leaking.
Pentagon Papers, and WikiLeaks. There's a huge difference there.
Okay, let him complete. Let him complete. Yes, Mr.
You
Ram.
can say various things. No, yeah, I'm
All right,
supposed to.
okay.
I'm supposed to respond, and please don't interrupt. Okay. So I obviously disagree with this view because that's what the New York Times does. That's what various newspapers do. That's what the Hindu
Absolutely.
does. That's what the Times does. We receive material which is otherwise not available. One, and secondly. Yes, it's a very cynical way of looking at it when you say this is, of course, you expect it, it's not unexpected, but we hope that people will come to the defense of organizations which believe in the idea that information wants to be free and the world must be fair and just. Those are the two founding ideas, and I think it's very clear, and they've got enormous support around the world. In fact, I learned from Julian and his team that in terms of just the other day, Saturday, when I was at Ellingham Hall and we went to a nearby pub and had lunch for an informal off-the-record conversation. But I can reveal that, according to them, India, in terms of expressions of support, India is the #1 country in the world, obviously excluding Madhu Trehan, followed by Brazil.
That's interesting.
And by the way,
Where do I come in? I mean,
Arnab,
that's a little petty, I think.
Arnab, you love what I hear.
Yes, Mr. Ram.
Arnab, by the way, I also learned that they've been following Times now, and their assessment is, their impression is, you are the most consistent among the TV channels in upholding their cause. So we are on the same page.
Well, okay. Well,
So it's leaks now.
Well. I hope.
What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, 'cause the
And where
question-
did I come in with Brazil?
No. Here's the question.
Where did you really?
No, here the
What kind of
Madhu Trehan, would you like you
off the wall remark is that?
Okay, Madhu.
I wouldn't even want to address it. I
Okay.
mean, it's just too boring. Let's get back to the subject.
Sohail Seth wanted to make a point in response to what you said, and Ram, go ahead, Sohail, please.
I think, Arnab, no one, either Madhu or Ram or Farooq, no one is making the point that information should be controlled or suppressed.
Yes.
The limited point that we are making, or at least I'm making, is that even if Julian Assange has been set up, and let's believe for a moment that there is vendetta and vindictiveness, the only solution is to present him before a court because he has no other option.
That is so true.
And if Sweden and Sweden's judiciary comes across as poor and wanting, as unfair and distressed, then we need to understand that nowhere in the world can he or his organization expect justice only because he's been able to expose the goings-on of governments and individuals alike. But the fact of the matter is that if he doesn't do it, he is in any case a fugitive. So there's no major choice left for the in the matter for him as far as Julian Assange is concerned.
Farooq wanted to come in as well. Mr. Ram, I'm going to come back to you. Farooq Dhondi, on the vendetta part. You wanted to also come in on that.
Far be it from me to agree with Suhail, but it is a fact that these cases arose after the WikiLeaks exposures.
Absolutely.
And that these two ladies, the accusers, spoke up. There were two judicial processes which did not go ahead in accusing Mr. Assange or wanting him tried at the time he was still in Sweden. When he came to Britain, they brought these cases up. And the other thing is that Julian Assange himself, has said to the British press that he may have slightly unorthodox sexual habits. He says this. And he wrote about it. And he said he may not have the conservative way of going about his demands. Now, Sohail, you know that women always say no. But
No, I don't know anything. Don't involve me in
That's
this.
not the issue.
But I certainly know, Farooq,
I think
molestation is not unorthodox sex.
I started by
Molestation is a
saying
crime.
he should clear it up. If there's that shadow hanging over him, you want to get rid of that cloud, or it'll rain on you one day.
Well, the question tonight is exactly that. Is this about a rape charge or is it a global conspiracy? Mr. N. Ram, I want to bring you in on that. In your view, is this a rape charge or is this a global conspiracy?
That will be proved when
I think we can
the
only
Americans
look
apply
at
to
the
the Swedes.
Yes, Mr. Rao.
atmospherics, the circumstances surrounding the surfacing or resurfacing of these allegations. They were dormant. There was no investigation till, as Farooq says, till after these cables hit the world. And you would expect a reaction, yes, but it is very suspicious, certainly. But I wouldn't like to insinuate anything against the British justice system or indeed the Swedish justice system.
Absolutely.
And we do hope that justice will be delivered.
Well, I can
Of
only
course, if he has to, Julian will have to face the law, will be extradited, and I think
Yeah.
he will do it bravely, and I believe he'll come out clean.
Can I ask the panelists, have you nothing to say about the fact that in this country you are guilty until proved innocent even of this kind of charge?
that
It doesn't apply in Britain, it doesn't apply in India, it doesn't apply in the USA. Sweden, yes.
well, certainly the question tonight is whether Sweden will be able to stand up to America if that question ever emerges. But if there was a gutsy crusader indeed, he's gutsy, and the only thing that can be said about Julian Assange tonight is he's down. I don't think he's totally out. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the day when there's been a big setback for Julian Assange.